G'day everyone, welcome back to the Aussie Lawn, and here we are, week 2 of our golf putting green and front lawn renovation. So obviously last week Ben was here and we hooked him, we got a heap done. Unfortunately we didn't get it finished. Anyway, this week, so it's been 6 days now, so today's Thursday after the renovation, yep, so 6 days. And I've basically, due to work commitments, just walked away. So we did the top dress, we did all that sort of stuff. You can actually see now bit of green stuff starting to poke through, but today it's time to chuck out some Acelepryn, which is an insecticide. So we're going to talk about the benefits of using Acelepryn. We're going to use some fertilizer, so the Renovate Fertilizer, and we're going to chuck down a really good quality soil wetting agent to get moisture down as best we can. Now, sort of been holding out for some weather as well, so I didn't have to use as much irrigation, but time to just push on and irrigate. We've got some good rain forecasts for next week. Let's just hope it does eventuate. But anyway, look, let's just have a quick look. We'll take you around, show you up close how it's all looking. Righto, so we've still got some core holes through here that I haven't yet had a chance to top dress in. It's not a huge priority for me right now. My main priority is getting this green finished off. So as I said, chucking out those products over there that we'll look at closely in a minute, and getting some water on, and maybe next week or something I'll get a bit more time on up my sleeve. I'll get on there and we'll fill in the last of the these core holes in the apron. But as I said, I'm not too fussed about that at the minute. Right, things are still a little bit quieter around the front here. Got a little bit of green starting to push through here. I just need to point out too, ideally you'd want to fertilise and do all your things as closely as possible after you renovate, but this is a good example of it's not actually detrimental. If you get caught up with work commitments or whatever, don't stress. As I said, you're not going to kill this grass. You can be really, really tough on it, you're not going to kill it. So I've rubbed over this green with the level on twice now. I actually went over it yesterday. Still a few little core holes left, and that may be the case from time to time. They'll pop up after the irrigation has a good cycle through here. You could, if you wanted to, top them up with a bit more sand. I don't think I'm going to worry. It's not going to be that detrimental. Righto guys, so we're going to kick off chucking out some of this Hydrolink Advanced. Now what this is a premium, so it's a top tier wetting agent, and this one actually has the benefit of added kelp, so the seaweed solution. So it's got a bit of that tucked into it as well. Now we're going to chuck it out at the labelled rate, which is 200 mils per 100 square metres. And then basically this stuff just helps the, I actually did a video on this, so I'll put a link up there somewhere. What this one does is it helps the water and the nutrients and stuff penetrate deep down into the soil and hold a bit more moisture in there. So perfect timing to add this now. We've got the ground nicely opened and we've got the top dress down. So really, really great product to be adding to your renovation arsenal. So this will require some irrigation after we've chucked it in. According to the back of the label here, somewhere around the area of 6 mils of irrigation. So that's fine. So I'm going to chuck it out. By the time that should dry down, that should dry on the ground here fairly quick, but it'll still stay active when the water hits it. And then we'll chuck out some fertilizer and Acelepryn. So let's move across to it now. Wow. So this is a long life insect control. So it's an insecticide, but unlike insecticides of the past, it's an unscheduled. So basically, there's no actual requirement for any PPE. I could actually handle this with my hands, etc. Obviously, there's still going to be we're still talking chemicals, so I still like to be on the air of caution. So if I'm going to use it, I'm going to use gloves and stuff like that, but it's unscheduled, so that's a good thing. As I said, in days gone by, I've used products that are now banned and no longer available for domestic use, so it's sort of time to get with the program. And this will cover all sorts of things like your armyworm, your sob, webworm, your African black beetles, and that sort of thing. Now, probably a little bit late for here personally, maybe if you're watching this in the southern states, so Victoria, for example, or Tasmania, chucking this stuff out now would be ideal. Otherwise, on average, you're probably looking to throw this out around end of August, early September, but I don't have any real visual signs of any insects at the moment. This is the first time I'm trialing it. So we're going to run with this stuff as well. So it should give us about 6 months maximum, 6 months control, and again, really great rates. So what's it say here? So yeah, so black beetle larvae, African black beetle, Argentinian scarab, Argentine stem weevils, bill bugs, caterpillars including cutworm, sobwebworm, etc, etc. So really great product to use, and one that's safe for the whole family. So good stuff there. And finally, we'll move across to our Renovation Fertilizer. So we're using a product called Renovate, and it's a mini prill. Now, if you're not cutting super short like I am, so you haven't got sort of 4 or 5 millimeter cutting heights, and you're sort of cutting perhaps 10, 12, 13 mils or above higher, you probably don't need this stuff. You're probably just as happy to use a 2-spec Accelerate, which is the one that I used in the Buffalo around the corner when I did the Buffalo renovation just recently. So it's probably, yeah, and it obviously runs a little bit cheaper than this. Now, again, you're paying for the fact that this stuff is really, really tiny. It too has kelp. So the NPK ratio is 17:8, and obviously the added kelp. And rates of this, 2.5 kilos per 100 square meters. So this is a 20 kilo bag, so I'll definitely be able to get over the entire yard and have a little bit left over. So again, we'll put all these on and individually. So we'll start off with our Hydrolink, we'll run across to the Accelerate, we'll finish off with the Renovate, and they all sort of want the same amount of irrigation. So we'll simply irrigate them all in at the same, and happy days. Just want to quickly touch on this. So you would have seen a while ago, I did a review on these solo sprayers, and one of my biggest criticisms about them was when they got down to about 5 litres or so or less, they lost prime. Now, I've actually upgraded to this brass lance. That's an optional extra. It comes standard, obviously, with a plastic-like spray lance. So it sort of felt a bit more flimsy, a bit more floppy, I guess, and I got this one. Now, I don't know why, and I don't know how, but this does a lot to reduce the loss of prime that I'm experiencing with this. I can get now down to 1 litre or less without any concerns at all. So if you've got a Solo 417, I might seriously consider getting one of these brass lances through Solo. They're not cheap, and look, I certainly agree that you shouldn't have to do it just to solve an issue with the product, but really, for the benefits you get, that's a more sturdy spray lance, and the fact that you can actually get all the product out of the tank with no dramas, it's probably worth just considering. So anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know that I've used it a few times now, and there's a dramatic improvement. So I don't know if it's just a slightly smaller tube size or what the go is, but it does a lot to alleviate that airlock that these were prone to get. Anyway, guys, let's check out some of this. So it's worth noting this Accelerate GR. So the GR obviously stands for granules. It's available in a liquid as well, but it's a lot more expensive. But nice small prill size, very uniform. Should go through one of those little Scott's hand spreaders very well as obviously this John Deere spreader of mine. That acelepryn that I've just applied would have to be, without question of a doubt, the easiest insecticide that I've actually applied to date. Came through the spreader perfectly, worked out the calibration on that spreader was actually setting number 3. Yeah, so too soon to tell my personal views on how it works, but ease of application, wow, so good, so easy. Okay, so that just leaves us our fertilizer. Now, because everything, as I said before, everything's dried now, the HydroLink Advance has dried onto the ground there. It's nice and dry. The acelepryn's been put down. Going to chuck down the fertilizer now. Now look, because everything is dry, there's no dew, there's nothing like that. I'm quite safe to leave this on the leaf, or in this case, on the dirt, until two things. Either we get some rain this afternoon, or we tick back into the times of day that I can water, because we are actually on water restrictions here, so I can't actually water until this afternoon. So I think it's 5 p.m. onwards. I'd have to double check. So it's going to sit quite happily on the leaf because it's dry until this afternoon, but we are forecast to get a storm, and it is actually starting to look that way. So as you can see, mini prill is exactly that. This stuff's almost fine like beach sand, which is what you want, because it's going to get straight down through any leaf canopy that's left, or in normal times when there's leaf canopy, it's going to get through that leaf canopy and you can mow without the stress of picking it up. It's got a bit of a funny smell, this stuff. I'm not suggesting that you smell it, but I think that might be just the kelp in it, because this also has added kelp for beneficial soil microorganisms, and it's a bit of a tonic. So yeah, anyway, we'll chuck this stuff in and get the job done. Righto, so that's all out now. About all we can do for now. Let's check back in 7 days' time. Righto guys, well, 7 days has passed, and boy oh boy, what a 7 days it's been. I actually managed to get away for a few days, went over to the coast, to the beach for a bit of break after renovations. It's a good time to get away, because you don't actually have to have a look at the beach here. You can go and have a look at the beach, or the real beach. So at the beginning of this video, I talked about following weather patterns and learning about your weather. Well, we got some rain, and we got some rain. We got some more rain and some more rain. So in the few days that I was away, we had over 100 millimeters, and it did actually not cause irreparable damage, but it did cause damage. A lot of flooding around the green area. I'll throw some footage up if I haven't already done that. Washed fertilizer into low areas, and also what it did was washed away some of the top dressing. So we're going to have to fix up a few little areas. So not ideal. I don't seem to be having a great deal of luck when it comes to renovations. That first horrendous episode that I did, don't look at it. Just don't go back and look at it. Just take my word for it. Turned out to be a big rainstorm as well, and the green flooded, etc., etc. And unfortunately, it happened again this time round. So let's have a little look around. Look, at the end of the day, it's not that bad a damage. It's a little bit of cleaning up to do. I'm going to run the level on over this one more time. Just have a look. The beauty is all the core holes are now filled up well and truly. So yeah, not too concerned. Going to lift the height of the greens mower up to, haven't worked it out yet, probably about 7 mil, and run over it, and then slowly start bringing it back down again. Righto, we'll have a little look at the front now. You'll notice a big difference out there. It's been really kicking on. Unfortunately, there's been some sand washed away there as well. But again, not a huge problem, just an inconvenience that you're going to get when you get 100 mils of rain in a couple of days, in this part of the world at least anyway. So let's go. Right, so hopefully now the rain just abates for a couple of days, just so things dry out just that little bit. I'd love to get a mow on both of these lawns now, the front and the green. So hopefully sometime over this coming weekend I'll be able to do that and start sort of turning it back into what it once was, one healthy, happy little putting green and a nice green front lawn. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you have a fantastic weekend wherever you are, wherever you're watching. Take it easy. We'll see you next time here on the Aussie Lawn.